Hey there, and welcome back to Capivara Talks, where chill minds don't blindly follow fire. Today we're talking How to Train Your Dragon 2025, the live-action remake that's either epic or just animated deja vu in IMAX. Let's sort the magic from the marketing. Because not every story needs a realistic, glow-up-esque Toothless. So what happens when dragons go from animated magic to photorealistic beasts?
Is it evolution or erosion? That really seems to be the core question buzzing around this one, right? Looking at all the reactions and details.
Absolutely. It's this inherent tension. You've got this beloved story with layers of history. First Cressida Cowell's books, quite different in some ways.
Right, the book started it all back in 2004. Then DreamWorks comes along in 2010 and creates this huge animated phenomenon, critically acclaimed, Oscar nods.
But they definitely changed things. Hiccup's older. Toothless is this cool night fury, not the small dragon from the books. And Astrid, she was basically created for the film.
From page to pixels and now to flesh and fire. It's quite a journey. And what's really interesting is Dean DeBlois, the guy behind the animated trilogy, he's back writing, directing, producing this live-action one.
Yeah, and he seems very clear, based on the sources, that this isn't just, a studio mandate. He said it was made without a cynical bone in the mix.
Right. He talked about wanting to enrich these stories, deepen relationships, create a different experience in a, quote, realistic world.
Apparently, they were even thinking of a kind of live-action sensibility way back during the first animated film, consulting Roger Deakins and everything.
So when the original visionary leads the charge, is it still a remake? Or maybe it's him finishing an idea he started long ago.
Yeah.
Changes how you see it.
Definitely gives it a different angle. Okay, so casting. Mason Thames as Hiccup. Seems like people thought he did a pretty good job capturing that awkwardness.
Yeah, the humanity and insecurity, that seemed to land well. But Nico Parker as Astrid. That's where opinions really split.
How's that?
Well, visually, people noted the look and the action sequences were good, but some critiques felt the character was, underserved by the script. Maybe less nuanced than the animated Astrid.
Interesting. But the big news was Gerard Butler, right?
Yeah.
Coming back as stoic.
Oh, huge. The only original voice actor back on screen. And the praise is pretty universal in the sources. Gravitas and warmth, the emotional core, alongside Thames, some say even more impactful than just his voice.
Wow. And the other writers of Burke.
Generally positive, felt like they nailed their parts, grounded the Viking side of things.
So can new faces breathe life into old legends? Sounds like Butler really anchors it.
He definitely provides that strong link. Now the dragons. This is crucial,
The
obviously.
make or break element, yeah. They went for grounded realism, right? Studying real animals.
Exactly. Toothless, inspired by a Black Panther, others drawing from crocodiles, birds, and they used a mix of top-tier CGI from Framestore and a lot of practical puppetry on set.
Puppets, like rideable ones.
Yeah, rideable puppets, multiple toothless heads for different interactions. The actors apparently found it pretty surreal but helpful.
Okay, technically impressive.
Yeah,
But did it feel right? That's where the uncanny disconnect idea comes in.
precisely. Some felt Toothless, especially, lost that really rich personality and expressiveness from the animation, despite the amazing CGI detail.
So Toothless is back,
Mm-hmm.
but is he still adorable? Or just a realistic creature?
That's the debate. Some fans apparently felt he came across more like a very expressive dog, maybe. Losing that unique sort of feline intelligence the animation had hits that uncanny valley nerve for some.
Right. Animation can maybe get away with expressions live action struggles with. What about the music? John Powell returned.
Yes, and that's a massive plus for fans. His score is seen as the emotional bridge. Sources mention variations on the famous themes, new stuff too.
And those little track name changes. This is Burke becoming, this is real Burke. Kind of clever.
A bit meta, yeah. Leaning into the whole bringing it to reality idea, the score reportedly really does carry a scene.
Okay, so great score, stunning visuals.
Yeah.
But then there's this faithfulness issue. It sticks really close to the original animated film. Like, shot for shot sometimes.
Exceedingly faithful in structure and many scenes, yeah. Which is interesting because the tone is described as different. Darker, more realistic, the action more intense, more visceral.
So you get this clash, a darker tone, but you're recreating scenes that were originally maybe lighter or more charmingly cartoony?
That's the tonal dissonance critique some people raise. Like, does the funny, terrible terror scene land the same way in live-action realism? Or Astrid discovering Toothless, maybe less magical without the animation style?
When staying faithful means losing your soul. That's a tough question for a remake.
And it explains the split reaction. You had CinemaCon buzz calling it maybe the best live-action adaptation ever, praising how faithful and visually stunning it was.
So then you look at fan forums, like Reddit.
Yeah.
Much more complicated feelings.
Exactly. Praise for the flying, for Butler, for some added character bits like Snotlout's backstory, the general dragon designs.
But also critiques. Astrid's role, those missing small moments. And, yeah, Toothless's expressiveness coming up again. The dog comparison.
And that core feeling from some. Literally the same movie, but in CGI, which leads to the question of why? Was it necessary? Some called it pointless.
The fans see what the flash hides. That quote seems apt. Industry sees spectacle, fans see the soul, maybe?
It definitely shows the tightrope these remakes walk, which puts HTTYD right into the bigger trend conversation.
Yeah, we just saw Lilo and Stitch make a ton of money, like $800 million plus. But then Snow White really underperformed, reportedly delaying Tangled. Mufasa did.
Okay. So where does this one fit? With a solid projected start, it's kind of a test case, isn't it? Are we witnessing evolution or extinction here?
Does having the original director blending effects well, trying to deepen themes, does that make this remake different? Does it justify itself better?
That seems to be the argument for it. It's presented as a carefully executed passion project, not just churning out IP.
So, wrapping up, worth the flight. It sounds technically brilliant, visually impressive, emotionally resonant, thanks to Butler and Powell.
But those questions about character translation, especially Toothless, and the overall point of such a faithful remake, they linger. It almost makes you appreciate the specific magic of the animation even more, ironically.
Even a good remake highlights what animation does best, perhaps. And they're already playing a sequel for 2027, so the studio's confident.
Yeah.
But it leaves you, the listener, thinking. Does a live-action remake need to radically change things to earn its place? Or is a beautiful, faithful rendition enough? Can it ever really capture that animated soul?
What makes a remake truly justified? Good question to ponder.
That's it for today's ride. Real dragons, real questions, and a few sparks of truth along the way. Don't forget to follow Capivara Talks on Spotify and hit subscribe on YouTube for more curious takes. Until next time, stay chill, stay curious.